Tonight on DC News Now at 9, a gun comes out during a fight on the Brooklyn Metro platform. Now a teenager is dead and the suspected gunman is on the run.
This used to be a very, very safe and lovely community to live in, and it's become a hellscape.
The violence pushing people out. Tonight, hear why longtime neighbors are pointing fingers at district leaders.
I blame them. I blame them.
Over in Southeast, people duck for cover as gunfire erupts late at night. It wouldn't be the first or even second shooting on the block in recent months. We hear from witnesses tonight.
Hey, heading into your Friday, tracking a few more showers and blustery conditions. I have the forecast coming up.
Also ahead, a brand new law is making baby food safer in Maryland. And it's almost solar eclipse day. How the National Air and Space Museum is gearing up for the historic event and where you can join in on the fun come Monday.
You're watching the station covering all of the DMV. This is DC News Now.
And good evening and thank you for joining us for the news at 9. I'm Mark Hall, filling in for Chris Flanagan. Well, tonight, the search is on for the suspected gunman who killed a teenager inside the Brooklyn Metro station. It happened just before 4 p.m. and Marielle Carbone is live outside the station now. Marielle, what's the latest on this investigation?
Well, Mark, it's really been a difficult day for all the people out on this station, including the police officers who responded to this scene. We know that they have not yet identified the victim, but we do know it was a teenage boy. At this point, as you can see, the station here, it's still shut down as police investigate. And I want to pan over to the platform where we know this fight happened. Crews still out here cleaning up and walking the platform at this hour. We spoke to neighbors who use this station every day, and they tell us they are just fed up with the violence.
You know, somebody's life, somebody's child is gone.
A community heartbroken and angry.
We need to have some control in this city.
Valerie Vance says she's scared for herself, for her grandkids, after hearing today's news. A teen boy shot to death at the Brooklyn Metro station.
These kids don't have no respect. And if they don't have respect for themselves, then how are they going to have respect for the adults?
Police say the shooting happened around 4 p.m. when a group of teens started fighting down on the platform. And that's when officials say a person not involved in the fight pulled out a gun and started shooting. Police releasing this photo of the suspect.
Any information specifically related to this incident, we ask that you would please share that.
Police Chief Pamela Smith says she's concerned with how kids are dealing with conflict.
We have young people that are good young people, and then we have those of them that create this kind of activity, and we want to bring these folks to justice.
Still, neighbors are frustrated.
If a kid is carrying a gun and he takes another kid's life, he needs to be locked up and kept locked up.
Abdul Rahman Muhammad has lived in Brooklyn for nearly a decade.
And it's become a hellscape.
He blames city leaders.
It's the brazenness of it. These kids are walking around with masks on their face, which is a clear sign that they're up to no good. But again, the politicians, the soft on crime policies.
And we do know that there will be an increased police presence at this station in the coming days. And also, we are told that Allied Security, a contracted security agency, was on scene when the shooting happened, and that they were able to shield some of the passengers and help get more law enforcement out onto the scene earlier this afternoon. Mark and Annalisa, again, police are asking if you know any information to please report that. Reporting live from the Brooklyn Metro station tonight, I'm Marielle Carbone, DC News Now.
Marielle, thank you. Staying in the district, local advocates hosted an event tonight in Southeast as a part of their fight to prevent gun violence. The Trigger Project hosted the event at the Anacostia Arts Center, and advocates showed the audience how to engage in future strategies for gun violence prevention and sustainability. One ambassador for the group offers one way that they're trying to reduce the amount of gun violence in our communities.
Gun violence is a disease. Trigger Project stands for the true reasons I grabbed the gun evolved from risk. So gun violence starts from a young age. We have to stop exposing children to gun violence, meaning preventing it. Prevention is us. We are prevention. The youth are prevention. The adults are prevention. The steps that we take is prevention and intervention. So in order to stop the spread of the disease, we have to stop the spread of exposure.
Yeah, the Trigger Project was founded by Tia Bell, who has been deeply affected by gun violence. Bell's uncle was shot and killed, and her mother is a gun violence survivor. Well, happening right now across Virginia, there's a statewide search for a 15-year-old girl believed to be in extreme danger. Take a look at your screen. Ronique Poteet is from Richmond area, and Virginia State Police say that she was kidnapped from her home by a family member. She's about 5'4" and was last seen wearing red boxers and a pink Nike t-shirt. This is her half-brother, 23-year-old Terrell Davenport. He was last seen driving off with Poteet in a black Honda Accord. After reviewing dozens of tips and witness statements, police pushed out an Amber Alert this morning shortly after the Honda Accord was found in the metro Richmond area. But the two were not inside. Well, new at 9, several homes crushed by a massive tree in Tacoma Park, Maryland today. These pictures from Montgomery County Fire show the damage left behind. Officials say that the two families are displaced, and were told that saturated soil could have played a role in the tree falling. All right, Chief Meteorologist Janessa Webb joins us now. And Janessa, we saw rain earlier today. I'm assuming, or at least I'm hoping, that that system has left us. How's the forecast looking?
Yeah, finally getting a break from this departing low that's well to our north at this point. We do definitely have a very saturated ground. I have some parts of the DMV. We're talking 3 to 4 inches just in the last 48 hours. And folks, I do see one more round of rain. As I was coming in today, I said, look at that spring storm. Definitely going to continue to see that. That storm system that we've been dealing with, it has not completely exited the East Coast. 48 degrees right now. We're sitting under mostly cloudy skies. There's that storm system that I'm talking about. It's producing now snow, Buffalo up towards upstate New York and northern New England. And then we're seeing kind of the leftover bands of that. And that's why a winter weather advisory remains, where squalls persist out towards Grant and Garrett County, where they've already dealt with significant amounts of snow. Still, you have these flood warnings out towards Brunswick area into North Germantown, just due to our rivers and streams being very high due to all that moisture we've seen. Temperatures as well, it's quite chilly out there with that northwesterly breeze picking up 15 to 20 miles per hour. Hey, we're going into your Friday. We're excited about that. It's not the best weather day, but it's better than what we've been dealing with the last couple of days. We're off to a very chilly start tomorrow by 9 a.m. still into the upper 40s. We do have a great looking weekend across the DMV. I'm excited to tell you about it. Stay with me. I have your full forecast coming up.
All right, Janessa, thank you. Now to a health alert. Frederick County officials are warning about a sewage overflow caused by recent rain, and you'll want to avoid swimming in several bodies of water for the next 2 weeks. And if you have a pet, keep watch of them too. We have a list of the affected areas posted on our website, dcnewsnow.com. In Virginia, Governor Glenn Youngkin signed a bill today aimed at holding some drug dealers accountable. New law imposes harsher penalties for knowingly manufacturing or distributing fentanyl, punishable by 10 years or more. Now, according to the Attorney General, Jason Miyares, 5 Virginians on average die of fentanyl overdoses every day. Miyares says the new law sends a powerful message that Virginia is fighting back against the drug epidemic. Well, new details in the recovery efforts in Baltimore following the Key Bridge collapse. Officials now have a tentative timeline of reopening the channel for the Port of Baltimore. DC News Now's weekend anchor Tosin Fakile has more information. And Tosin, that timeline is in a matter of weeks.
That's right, Mark, it is. So the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers says after several studies and assessments, they expect to open a limited access channel 280 feet wide and 35 feet deep to the Port of Baltimore by the end of this month. Now, earlier this week, Governor Moore had said to get larger vessels through the channel, they needed a depth of 35 feet to make that happen. Now that is absolutely happening. The Corps of Engineers says this channel would support one-way traffic in and out of the Port of Baltimore for barge, container, and some vessels that move cars and farm equipment. Officials say it's an ambitious timeline that may be impacted by significant adverse weather conditions or changes in how complex the wreckage is. Now, in more efforts to open the port, Governor Moore today said this morning 75 containers arrived at the Port of Baltimore by rail from a vessel that was rerouted to New York, New Jersey port. So that is some good news there. Also new today, Mark, we are hearing and seeing what divers experience in the water at the collapse site. Take a listen.
A couple inches beyond my fingertips.
All right, so you can't get to the bottom.
And you can see right there, you really can't see much. And yesterday, officials had told us what the divers experience is like driving in a snowstorm with headlights. And that's sort of what we saw right there. Officials say rescue operations are being done sort of in a buddy system. A diver paired with an operator who uses 3D renderings and pictures to guide the divers. And they continue to stress how extensive the wreckage in the water at the collapse site is.
Those spans might have been contorted in such a way that if you were to cut it, there might be some force that's pent up.
The salvage bucket is on its way up. It's basically a giant grab that goes down to grab some of the wreckage to lift it up, the wreckage that can't be rigged individually to be put onto a barge.
As we've said before, safety and making sure that we have no more casualties and no more injuries is the highest priority of this unified command.
The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers says it also aims to reopen the permanent 700-foot wide and 50-foot deep channel by the end of May. And all of this is happening as tomorrow President Biden is expected to visit the Key Bridge collapse site and also talk more about federal response. Mark?
And all right, thank you so much, to some first responders across the state of Maryland receiving honors today for their efforts in the aftermath of the collapse. Prince George's County Marine Unit and also an underwater rescue team were presented with the Chiefs Award and Unit Citation Award in a ceremony this morning. Now, the members spent countless hours searching for the 6 workers who fell into the water, and they recovered the truck with 2 bodies of 2 of the victims inside.